If you're like most parents, you're really busy. You've got your child to look after, you might have work commitments, you've got other commitments to look after yourself. It's a busy old time. So it's quite easy to just expect things to happen like the school system, expect it to produce outcomes, expect, those to be great outcomes, because after all, your child's brilliant. One thing that I've learned as a teacher, and in general in my lifetime, in my experience, is that not all children will be willing to share their needs with their parents or with their teachers. They will come along the lines of, I'm fine. Yeah, I know this. Because children are very pure in the way that they think, and they tend to assume a lot of things into the conversation. They assume that they'll be bothering people often, and they assume that people won't have time to take care of what they need. So they tend to say to their parents, I don't need anything extra. I've got this. I know how to revise. And all this time, a little bit of guidance would enhance it a little bit. But parents, with all the will in the world, have not always got the skill that is needed all the time, that is needed to be able to guide that revision with them. Teacher parents like myself are a little bit different because we tend to do it alongside our prep. However, regular parents, it depends on the job. It depends on what you're doing. It depends on how, what you have to consider in your day. When you just rely on the educational system, however, you're leaving a lot to chance, because remember, your child isn't the only child in that classroom. And I've said on many occasions, the average amount of children that can be expected in the classroom. It's a lot to expect your child to be the one that is pulled out and given special treatment. It's unlikely to happen, really, right? It can happen, but it's unlikely. So we have to take more control of it. The way that children don't speak up and adults don't speak up has been highlighted in the press a lot this week with the tragic events of last weekend. This was somebody who had lots going on in her head and a lot of inner torment, and who didn't feel able to speak up at the time. Lots of students I've known have gone through the same thing, and you can pick it up in their emotions, in the way that they approach a lesson. And the most that you can do as a teacher is contact the parent. Now, let's take that action on its own. When we contact the parent, we often use phrases like, could you have a word with them? Could you have a little talk, see what the problem is? But then we're limited in how we can approach the problem as a teacher. All we can do is give a little positive encouragement. It might need a little more. It might need a little more. It might need smaller groups. It might need learning in an environment where they feel safe. There are so many factors that could affect the way that a person approaches their life and approaches their goals, that as parents, I would say we should, and we really should, seek to find a way that we can have some input to the system, not just wait for the educational system, as in schools, as in colleges, as in universities, to produce a result, but instead to look at the result that our children want and helping them by maybe intervening a little, maybe giving them that little safe space in your home which is just theirs, which they can learn in, which they can take control of, and feeling more control of their destiny. It might be getting them a tutor. It might be helping them organize a timetable. There are so many different things that they could do. But I would say, first things first, they need to find somebody that they can actually sit and talk goals with, somebody who's experienced in all things education, and not necessarily just academic, but in how the psychology of education, the way that the mind works. It's important that we try to take control of the situation as soon as possible, and especially in the spring term, because the spring term can be pivotal when it comes to results. Now, that's a lot to think about, but in summary, it's think about what your child needs, think about whether you're best placed to give it to them as a parent, or if some professional help would help you more. And while you're doing that, have a great day.